What up, though, shawty? We are back with BMF, Season 3, Episode 5, The Battle of Techwood. It all went down in this episode. Alright, so let's get it. The episode starts, Meech takes T to Platinum Palace. Where the ladies at? Where the girls are dancing, T's having a good time. He's showing T a good time. Notice that Loco is there. He's having fun. He's drinking, him and his little crew. And Meech lets Loco know, hey, because Loco gave him a compliment about how fast they sold the 25K, took care of that mistake. And he lets him know, hey, my brother T, he played a big part in that. So Loco gets up and daps T up. So now T is in the circle with Loco. So he's happy. He's like a long time coming. They also let Loco know about what they're going to be doing in St. Louis. They're going to be able to move product in St. Louis as well. Loco was happy. Then Stack shows up, showing his appreciation of Meech for letting him back in the crew, being conniving and everything. T, you can sort of tell T is a little reserved about Stack. So T is beginning, in this episode I noticed T's beginning to show some maturity and leadership. Meech breaking away from him is helping him out a lot. I noticed he's having some leadership moments, and they really displayed in this episode. Stacks looks across the room and he notices Remy is in there. So, that's his big thing. He want Remy, to his demise, he want Remy a little too bad, want him bad. So he sees Remy over there and he points that out to Meech because Meech is a little upset with Remy too. They go over a big brawl, break out in the club, and they get to fighting. So it's my assumption that they must have got the better of Remy because Remy and his crew got on up out of there, and it looks like Meech and them kind of hung out a little bit. As they come out of the club, they're standing there and they're chopping it up. One of the guys from Detroit is that, no, hey man, Meech, I see, you really know how to, show a good time and everything like that. Had a good time, and he's, about to leave. Meech and Terry notices a famous boxer. I'm assuming this guy's supposed to be playing Holyfield. Never heard of the name that they used in the show. I'm assuming it's supposed to be Evander Holyfield or whatever. But the key thing that I noticed about this boxer is his car. And as he's showing them all the compartments in his car, I'm sure that's when Meech's mind got to turning about the product. They were already sort of doing it in Detroit where they were putting it in the panels and everything. So they already got a little started. But this car was on a whole nother level. Next we hear gunfire. So Remy and his crew done come back and they bussin', boy. And Meech and T, they start bussin' back and everything. After the smoke clears, Diesel has been shot. The guy that was there visiting. He's been shot and he got killed because later Meech says that he reached out to the family. He's going to take care of the funeral. So it's always that innocent bystander, man. That's the sad thing about this type of a lifestyle. So they're back at the house the next day, and Stacks comes over, and he comes up with the idea of for them to ambush Remy and his crew in Techwood. Now, I was with T on this. This is one of the leadership things that I liked about T, that was a bad idea. On their turf, outnumbered. To me, it was not a good plan. It really wasn't. I don't know why Meech wanted to do it this way. I understood his, okay, let's team up, the strength in numbers, let's team up, but maybe you should have had, or some kind of way, got Remy to meet with you all somewhere else. To go in their territory, I just felt like that was a bad idea. I didn't like it at all. T approaches Meech about Stacks and voices his concerns. Like, hey, I don't know that you can trust this guy. Well, what T didn't know is that Meech Meech ain't stupid. He was having him, looked into. He had somebody looked into him, and he ended up getting word back that, yes, in fact, Stacks was trying to set him up, trying to get him to go over into Techwood And then he was going to have the MK crew, because the MK crew is much bigger. They have AKs and all this types of machine guns. And they were going to just come ambush both crews and have them, shooting it out. Then they were going to just come, finish it off, right? And they got the confirmation that that's exactly what Stax was doing. So Meech come up with the idea, well, because he was telling Stax that they're going to go at nighttime and do it. So Meech got the idea, let's just go on over there early. Let's talk to Remy and let's set this up to where we're not going to be there killing each other off when they show up. We're going to, have a truce with one another. And when they show up, we just going to ambush them, right? So now we see Charles. He's at this restaurant. And at first I'm like, Charles, no. He's with the other little, the musician lady from their old church, Sister Riley. He's with her. And turns out he's just there to have her he's written a song and he wants her to get the band to record it, lay it down, lay down the track so that he can have the music. He's written this song for Lucille, to plead his love for her and, talk to her in the song about them getting back together. Well, unfortunately for him, Lucille's friend, cousin, whatever she is, sees them there at the restaurant, and boy, she couldn't wait to go tell Lucille. She hightailed it straight to Lucille's house. Well, back at the house, Pastor Fleming is there, and she's talking to Lucille to be the assistant pastor. So she's impressed because of that money she was able to raise for the 10K, for their, bake sale or whatever it was they were doing, their fundraiser. So, she was impressed with that. So I just thought that was funny that you there trying to get Lucille to be assistant pastor, and Lucille got her eyes wondering. That's how that, whatever. It just is what it is. So she tells her she's going to think about it or whatever, talk over with her family or whatever. And she leaves. And that's when her little cousin friend, whatever the lady is, Estelle, she comes in and tells her about Charles. A little later, we see Charles come home and Lucille standing over there with a bat. Because she's like, I done had enough, man. You done embarrassed me one too many times. What was you doing after breakfast with another woman? So he calms her down. He lets her know. He hurries up. Oh, he's nervous. You can tell he's nervous because she got that bat at him. He goes and he plays the song and he sings the song to her. And she melts. And they end up being intimate. But then later, you see her looking at the card, and she's still got feelings for. He ain't going nowhere. And he even told her, Charles even told her, hey, I know Reese is back, and I know you got feelings for him, but I'm not gonna stop fighting for us. So he knows. But yeah, she's still thinking about this guy. So I don't know what she gonna do. I just don't know what she's gonna do. Brian gets released from jail from when he got picked up when he was following Meech, and Henry sends Tyson and another little dude there to pick him up. The other dude in the back seat, have Bryant get in the passenger seat, and Tyson's driving. Well, Bryant's no fool. He's not an idiot. He knew that there was a plan. Number one, he didn't set up for them to pick him up. He didn't even know they was going to be there. Two, you got a dude in the back seat. I'm in the front. That's a setup. So he asked if he could have a cigarette. The dude was like, sure. So he popped the cigarette, the old school cigarette lighter. He popped it in so they could get hot. And soon as old boy tried to make a move from the back seat with a knife, I'm assuming Henry must have wanted them to bring him back to her, but they knew they would have to hurt him. Because I felt like if they really, really wanted to get him, they would have had a gun and they just would have popped him from the back seat. But no, dude had a knife and he went to attack Bryant. Bryant, hit him with that cigarette lighter and fought his way out, and he was able to get up, roll out of the car and take off running. Of course, this didn't set well with Henry at all. So she take it out on the little flunky dude. She took it out on him. Yeah, a little fight broke out, and he's gone. He's up out of here. So she took it out on him, but she's after Bryant. She's after him, and she's after him strong. So we see Jen and Colby Anderson, they're at the precinct, and they're talking about how the guy that they picked up, that got the ambulance from the auction, and they questioned him. And of course, he sung like a canary. He didn't give them 100% details, but he gave them the name Henry. So of course, out of assumption, they're thinking Henry's some guy. But we all know who Henry is. So they're trying to put the pieces together. They don't know who Henry is, but they've got that name. We then see Brian. He goes to see Kevin. After he escaped, he goes to see Kevin because he knows. She told him, if this doesn't go right, I'm going to pull protection from your son. So he goes to check on Kevin, and boy, they bring Kevin to talk to him, to sit down behind the glass and talk to him. And before Kevin can even make it to him, his jaw has dropped because Kevin is busted up. He's busted up. So he gets to talking. He tells his dad how, the people that you had protecting me are the same people that did this to me. And Brian is just so distraught. He said, oh, and by the way, Dad, there's more. And he tells him that when I fell asleep last night, I woke up to guys holding me down. I couldn't fight them, Dad. I couldn't fight. And one of them pulled my pants down. So we know what happened to little Kevin. And he tells him to hold on, I'm going to get you out. I'm going to get you out. So in his desperation, he leaves and he goes to Jenny's house. He goes to Jenny. I guess he felt like, if I can't get help on the outside, let me try to get help on the inside. So we see Jen and Kobe. They've now gone to Jen's crib because she's trusting Kobe. Kobe gave her some information about her dad, how, let her in and told her some personal information about her dad and why they're not close. So I guess that made Jen feel like, well, quid pro quo, let me give her some information. She's like, I got something to tell you, I can't tell you here. Let's go to my place. So they go to her place and, they're having karaoke. They're talking. She tells her about Brian, the ambulance, and all that stuff, that he was there. She knows he's, has ties with them and all this. And, it's crazy because the next thing we hear is a knock at the door, and it's Brian. And as soon as he got in there good, Henry's outside. And her and her crew, they start bussing. They start bussing all in Jen's apartment. And I knew that it was about to happen because whenever a character starts getting all deep and personal and emotional, that's usually the character is about to end. And for her to be sharing, how her dad treated her when she was in the streets and preferred her brothers over her, the favoritism he had with her brothers, I said to myself, oh, something about to happen. Well, you knew something was about to happen. But anyway, she ends up gone. She ended up the one that got sprayed, and she's gargling. She's gasping for, spitting up blood, and it's over. It's got to be over. So, yeah, that's again, it's always that innocent bystander. She didn't have nothing to do other than, she was a cop, but it wasn't her place, and they were looking for Brian. She just got caught in the crosshairs. So Meech and T are with Stacks, and they're rolling through Techwood, and he's telling them all the ins and outs about Techwood. Because remember, he got a girl to stay over there. He got a little short over there, and he apparently was spending time with her over there before the big beef or what have you. And she also is feeding him information. So he's giving them the intel of everything, of how they gonna get in, how they gonna get out, setting them up. And so they rolling through and everything like that. So when Meech and the crew get to Techwood, because now they decide to go in the daytime, girl done call Stacks and all this, and they're talking, and the MK boys rolled up because she called Stacks. Of course, Stacks called MK boys. They rolled up, like, okay, because they knew something must be cooking for Meech them to go early and not tell Stacks about it, didn't take Stacks. So they knew that their cover was blown, right? The gig's up. And so they come and it's an all-out war. Unfortunately, when the smoke cleared, because it was a lot of going back. But first of all, here's my thought on it. I felt like one, even though they were going there for a truce, Meacham should have had more people on the front end. Boom. They should have more. They should have had more people there. He should have waited for that Detroit crew to get there that he had called, or T Hick. I don't know who called him. He should have waited until everybody got there and everybody strapped up. One, two. Y'all had a whole bunch of little handguns. Y'all ain't had no machine guns like them other two crews got. Like, God, you taking a knife to a gunfight with it in that regard, because you just whatever. But it's sad because the young man that Remy was talking to, the little boy in episode 1, when he was passing out the sack lunches, that main little boy he was talking to, gone. Caught in the crossfire. Now, he had a weapon in his hand. He called himself going to help out, so the op took him out, And Rip, earlier, I didn't mention this, but earlier Rip gave Meech a tape. He had just laid down a track. He gave him a tape. He said, make sure my music get out if I don't make it out. Not because of going to Techwood, because this conversation before they had decided to go to Techwood, he just meant, I guess he knew the type of lifestyle he was in. And Meech told him, listen, man, that's not going to happen because you're not going to be a part of that. So it kind of, I felt Meech on it, but Meech, when he told you I'm not taking no, you should have told him, no, man, no. He went and, so you got two. And I think they call him Rip. R.I.P. to Rip. So in the midst of all of, the battle, it was beginning to look really, really ugly for Meech and his crew. It really, really was. And all of a sudden, all the Detroit guys came and they showed up, PA boys and the BMF from Detroit. It was a good little size there. And they came and they got Meech and them up out of there. And that was that. But this pissed off Glock, and he guess who he took it out on? He took it out on Stacks, and Stacks up out of there. He gone. He let him have it. So, but we knew that was coming. And the next sad scene we see is Brian. Apparently, he's gotten a call to come to the jailhouse, and he gets there, and Kevin has, unalived himself. And he just, I'm sure, he couldn't take what happened to him. At first, I thought Henry's crew had went back and took care of him since, they didn't get Brian. But I noticed, the redness around the neck as he laid on the table, as well as when the show ended, they did the sexual abuse and the suicide hotline numbers. So he unalived himself. Just too much on the brain, right? That's sad. But Brian's gonna have to hear it from, his ex-wife. Now what is Jen gonna do about Brian, since now her house done got shot up? Brian might be in some trouble, some big trouble, and we know Henry's still at him. She's not going to stop. T and the crew, they get everything packed up. We're back at the house. They're getting ready to head back to the D. T was really upset when he realized that Meech wasn't coming home. Meech was going to stay. T really wanted Meech to come back home because he knows he's going to have to deal with Henry when he gets there. But Meech was like, no, I'm not going to tuck my tail and run. This war is here. You got a war there. I'm going to protect my people in the A. You protect your people in the D. He goes back to sit down, and Sweet Angel, after she gave him that nice dance earlier, she comes and she massages him, as he's sitting there because she knows her man got a lot on her mind. What can I find me one of those? Angel seemed to be a really, really good woman. She really, really does. But it was a really good episode. I'll say this, looking at the preview for next week, look like we're gonna finally get to see Henry with that flamethrower. She getting ready to. I know she want T real bad, but I think right now she probably want Brian even more. And that's probably for Brian. We gonna see. But yeah, on the preview that flamethrower about to come out, so we getting close to that. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe to the channel, and as always, stay safe and on to the next one. Peace.